Good evening, everyone. Welcome.
Hello.
I'm Dawn from Creative Appliques, and I am here with
Reen Wilcoxon from Embroidery Garden.
And we are so excited to be here with you tonight. We're so happy that you're joining us for this amazing event that we have, our Technique Tuesday Stitch Along. We're going to be stitching out in real time one of Reen's amazing 5x7 notebook covers, and we're going to put on one of my collegiate double applique letters, and we're going to use Embrilliance to merge that all together. So as we wait here, type in the chat where you're checking in from, where you're joining us from. We'd like to know where everybody is. I'm in Virginia. Hi, Vicki in Maryland.
Hi, Caroline.
Reen is joining us from
Indiana.
Yes. Hello, Cora. Michigan. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. North Carolina. Chesapeake, Virginia. Jill, I'm in Yorktown. Utah. Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Tammy.
Suffolk, Virginia. Ohio. Indiana, Arkansas. We just about have all the states here. That's awesome.
Karen is from Northwest Indiana. That's where I'm at. I believe I think we're in the same town, Karen. Oh, hi, Patty, old neighbor of mine. Hi, Alice.
Texas.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for being here. So we just wanted to take a moment to ask for you all to like the video so that we know you're enjoying what we're doing and that you would like to see more of what we're doing. Also, when you comment, that way it helps as well. And if you would share the video, share it to your page so you can watch it later. This will be recorded. You will be able to watch it later on Creative Appliques Facebook page, Embroidery Garden's Facebook page, Creative Appliques YouTube channel, and Reen will also be uploading it afterwards to her YouTube channel as well. So you will be able to find it in multiple places, multiple sources, so that you can watch it again later. So also we wanted to mention that we have a giveaway that will be happening.
We actually have 5 of them.
Yes, actually. We do have 5. And so in order to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is type into the comments, #cuddle, like you see at the bottom of the screen, #cuddle. And the reason why we chose the word cuddle is because that's what we're stitching on this evening from Shannon Fabrics. It's their amazing cuddle fabric. It is so soft. I hope you all got a chance to watch our live that we did about 10 days ago, where we talked all about the fabric and everything about that. So make sure you type in the chat #cuddle. That'll enter you into the giveaway. You only need to type it in once. Multiple entries don't give you better chances. So you just need to do it one time. No space, #cuddle. All right. So should we get started?
Let's do it. Maybe we ought to talk about the notebook cover first, just the notebook cover itself. So what we're using is my Dazzling Diamonds notebook cover. It's in fabric. It has quilting at the top. Let's see, it's just made out of cotton fabric. That's what the instructions say when you buy the Dazzling Diamonds notebook cover file. I want to make it clear that what we're doing tonight with the cuddle, because there's going to be a few things we're going to do differently, those are not in the instructions. Just the fabric, using fabric is in the actual instructions. So there is quilting. We're going to be skipping that because in the type of cuddle we're going to use, it's not really going to show up too well. There is a pocket on the inside. We're going to also skip that. And there's a page marker. You could still do that or, skip it, but I believe we are going to skip that tonight too. But we are going to be doing it out of cuddle. So let me show you another sample. This is the same notebook cover, different fabrics, and an applique on the front. You can add anything that you want to the notebook. I chose to use one of my new hand sketch florals. It's a collaboration with my friends at Design and Machine Embroidery. And then we did it in Cuddle, like Dawn showed you her samples. So there's going to be a couple of things that we're going to do differently. And how many of you are actually going to stitch along with us tonight? I like to kind of see a show of, I guess, I don't know, likes or something that show us that you are actually going to stitch along. It is a 5x7 notebook. So let's talk about the notebook because that's what everybody wants to know. So a 5x7 notebook, and I've got some samples here. So this one, or it's actually a 2-pack. I got this at Walmart yesterday. And as you can see at the bottom, it says 80 sheets, 5x7. So this is the size it needs to be. These two in here, you can see they have a bound edge on them. You really have to watch notebooks because they're not all created equal. Some notebooks have spirals. And if you notice, this one has a big spiral. This one has a small spiral. They're still 5x7 notebooks. These won't fit. I mean, they will fit in the cover, but the ends of the notebook are going to stick out because the spiral makes them too long. It takes up too much room, so it pushes the ends of the notebook out to the edge. I did find this, and let's see, I got this at the dollar store. It's a Jot brand. It's a hardcover notebook, but it works and it fits in there perfectly. So you can find the notebooks. You just got to kind of look around for them. This one, the 5-star Mead, again, it has a bound edge. It fits into the notebook cover. And I've gotten a few of them at Target that also work. And I've gotten a different style at Walmart. But so those are the notebooks that you need to use. It needs to be a 5x7. So Dawn, are there any questions?
The one question I did see was what size hoop? Will it fit in a 6x10? And it will only fit in the 8x12 hoop.
Right. This is for an 8x12 hoop. When you figure a notebook cover is going to stitch, it's going to be stitching like this when it stitches. So, it really has to be larger than 6x10. So, okay, let's see. You have the wrong notebook, Lynn? Well, just go get another one. My suggestion is after you make your cover, take your notebook with you to the store and kind of audition them.
Yes. Yes. The important thing is if you have one with the spiral, as Reen mentioned, the spiral tends to make, so the notebook itself, the pages themselves are 5x7. If you use one with the spiral, that makes it sometimes 5 1/4, sometimes 5.5 inches, and it makes it a little bit too snug for the cover to fit very well.
Right, it pushes the pages out to the edge, and you end up seeing them.
Yeah, Lisa said these are so cute. Thank you, Lisa. What are the average prices of the notebooks, especially the 2-pack from Walmart?
This one I think was like $225. And to note, I didn't find these over in the back to school section. I found them over like in their regular office supply aisle. Right now, back to school is kind of picked over a little bit. So,
yes.
And you can't order them off of Amazon, but you can't just order one. You're going to have to order 10 or a dozen or something. But once you make one cover, you're going to want to make a whole bunch of them because,
yes.
Dawn's applique just looks absolutely gorgeous on this. And the fact that we used Cuddle fabric for the applique really gives it that real trendy look going on right now. And Dawn, you want to talk about that and your collegiate letters?
Yeah. So let me switch you over here to my mat, and I'll show you some samples here. So I have 2 different ones that I've done. One here with some glitter marine vinyl, And then this one is more of a vinyl canvas. The letters are finished in a bean stitch, and then on the top here, it is a satin stitch. I have several other versions of it. Both the vinyl, the back part of the applique and the top part of the applique are done in zigzag. I also have ones that are done both in satin for the vinyl and satin for the top part. Let me show you some other examples. Tonight, though, we're doing the bean stitch with the satin stitch. This one actually is done on Reen's zippered bag. This is the 8x12 zippered bag, I think. And it's the bean stitch on the outside here, and then the inside part here is actually the zigzag stitch. And these are very popular right now. I don't know if you guys know of the Stony Clover letters. That this was done with a microfiber towel, so it makes it look like the faux chenille, which is all the rage right now. And then this one here is a sweatshirt I did with some glitter canvas, which I like to use the glitter canvas when it's on a piece of clothing because the canvas is a little bit thinner than the marine vinyl or the glitter vinyl, and it's more flexible for when you have it on a piece of clothing. So this is also similar to what we're doing tonight, the bean stitch outlined with the satin stitch, and this is microfiber cloth as well. That gives that faux chenille type of look. So are there any questions about the letters themselves that you would like to know? If not, we'll get started with the showing the
Yeah, there aren't any questions right now about the letters, but everybody loves them.
All right, excellent. So I think what I'll start doing now is we'll go into Embrilliance. Oh, one of the things that we did want to mention is that our designs are on sale right now. They will be on sale through August 30th. So if you're watching this in the replay or after you've watched this, you've fallen in love with it and you want to try it, all of my collegiate letters are on sale, and all of Reen's notebooks are also on sale. And that will last until August 30th of 2022. So if we're ready to move on, I will share my screen and we will go into Embrilliance and talk about how to merge the letter in.
Sounds good. Let's get you being the big screen, Dawn.
Okay.
And let's see.
Just slide it over. So take like that. Oops, that was me. Sorry. This way. And
there we go.
Let me share my screen here. Okay. So can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So here we have the Reen's Dazzling Diamond notebook cover, and it is grouped into all one design. When you bring it in, you can't select a separate piece of it and move it around to where you want it to go. So what we're going to do is make sure it's centered. And I'm going to go up to Utility and left click. And I'm going to go, I'm going to go to Edit and down to Ungroup. And I'm going to click on that, left click on that. Now it takes each piece and makes it an individual piece that I can click on. So I can click on the rectangle like that and pull it where out of the way or somewhere else, which I don't want to do, but I just wanted to show you how the pieces now are separate. So I'm going to drop on the right-hand side here where you see the name of the design. I'm going to click on the drop-down arrow, and I'm going to go to actually the number 3. So 1:3. And I'm going to copy and paste it. So if you're on a PC, that'll be Control C. If you're on a Mac, it'll be Command C. Or you can go up to the settings here in Brilliance and click on copy and then paste. Now, once I've pasted it, it makes this rectangle here at the bottom. It pastes it at the very bottom. So I want to make sure I have that highlighted. And I'm going to click on this. When I hover my mouse over this black square here in the center, it allows me to resize it. And what I'm doing is I'm dragging it down. So the top of this rectangle is going to be even with the 0. And I'm doing this because we want to bring in the collegiate letter and have it so it is centered on the front of the notebook, not centered on the entire notebook. Because if we take it and center it here in the center of the design, it is not going to be centered on the front of the notebook. So that's why we make the rectangle there and use that as kind of an alignment guide. So now that we've made that rectangle smaller, we are going to bring the letter in. So I'm going to go up to the blue letter A here and left click on that. And by default, it just brings in Embrilliance's block letter. And I'm going to come over here to the font and I'm going to scroll down quite a ways to, and all the ones that say CA are short for Creative Appliques. I do that so you know where you purchased the font from, in case you need to download it again or have questions. So we're going to go down to the CA Collegiate Double Satin Bean, and we're going to choose the 5-inch and click on that. So now it brings it the 5-inch for all the letters. And I'm going to highlight the text and I'm going to select I. And now that I've selected I, you can see it's pretty much centered in the hoop, but we need to rotate it and then center it between that rectangle. So go up here to the arrow and rotate it right. And now that I've rotated it, I'm going to come over to the right side over here and I'm going to select the letter and I'm going to press Shift on my keyboard and I'm going to select the 1/8. And now I have both of them selected. So that rectangle that we pasted there, we have that selected, and we also have selected the letter I. Now I'm going to come up here to the alignment tool and I'm going to click on that to align and distribute. And I want to click on center H for center vertical and center V, center H for center horizontal and center V for center vertical, and click on apply. Now it makes both of them aligned perfectly with the center for the left, right, and up and down. But if you see now, the rectangle moved up a little bit because it centered it essentially with the eye. So all we're going to do is press the arrow key on your computer keyboard and scoot it down so that this top line here again aligns up to the 0. So we're just going to scoot it down, and once we have it there, just click off of it in the screen. Now go back over to 1/8. That's that rectangle we created, and we want to delete that because we don't want that stitching. So make sure it's highlighted and just delete that on your computer keyboard. The next step we need to do is we need to sequence it correctly where we want to stitch it. So we're going to take the letter and click on it, and we're going to move it up in between right below the diamonds, which is step 1-4, and above step 1-5. So I'm going to left click and drag it up there. And insert it right between. So now it's, you can see the diamonds are highlighted. There's the letter I, and now the rest of the design will stitch.
Well, you made that very easy, Dawn.
Actually, it looks like it needs to go it needs to go down one, right? Because the rectangle.
It needs to go right after the quilting.
Right. Okay, that's correct then. All right, I just wanted to make sure. Thanks for the confirmation. Okay, so now that it's sequenced correctly, we're going to go up to File. And I always like to save mine as Stitch and Working File, especially if you're going to be making a bunch of these. That way, when you come back in, you can just simply select the letter. When you're working in the BE format, when you open that one back up, you can just select the letter, change the letter, and save it again. So it makes it very simple and easy. So you just click Save as Stitch and Working File, and make sure you're saving it to where you want to save it on your computer with the name you want. I will just say I right now for ease of use, and save it as PES because that's what my machine reads, and click Save. And then you just need to send it to your machine. So are there any questions about that?
No, there were no questions about the Embrilliance. I think that you explained that very well. So
okay. All right. So if there's no questions, I will close out of that and we will get the design set up, ready to stitch.
Sounds good. Maybe we should talk about the cuddle right before we do that, for people who aren't familiar with cuddle or have any questions about what we're using.
Yes, I agree. Go for it.
Okay. All right. So what we're using, and let me show you my table here. Don will go over the pieces that we're using, but we're using two types of cuddle. One is what they call a Luxe Cuddle, and it's kind of a little bit furry. Cuddle is a knit fabric, so it does have stretch to it. It stretches one direction. And when we're doing these pieces, when you're cutting them, we're not too concerned about the nap on the cuddle hide pieces, because if you look at it, you really can't tell, which way the nap is going anyway, because it does look like hide. You have fibers going, this direction, fibers going that direction, kind of off to the side, all over. It's really a really nice fabric. It's very soft, and I think kind of perfect for this. We're also using what they call Cuddle 3, and these are going to be pieces for the inside of the notebook that hold the edges of the notebook in, the little pockets. And the reason we're going to use Cuddle 3 is because it has a lower nap to it. It's only 3 millimeters high. That's why they call it Cuddle 3. And if we used, hide for the inside on both sides of the notebook, that would kind of make it a little bit too thick. And we decided to match that. We're using the Cuddle 3 on the letter. If you watched our Q&A, you know that we had to finish off the edges of the cuddle. And I prefer to put SF 101 on the back of my pocket pieces. The pocket pieces that are made out of the Cuddle 3 have a nap. So by nap, I mean, you notice if I go one direction and then I go the opposite direction, the nap of this is actually going this way. It's going down. You see how everything looks nice and smooth. And if I go the opposite way, then it starts to look rough. So when these pieces were cut, we wanted to make sure of the direction of the nap. And we went over that in the question and answer. So when you open up the notebook cover as you're looking at it, the pocket pieces, the nap is going down on both parts. I machine sewed the edge with like a zigzag stitch to finish it off. You could use, I think we talked about steam a seam, using that. You would want to use a press cloth over your cuddle. So you don't want to, put an iron directly onto it. It's not like it would melt or anything, but I would want to protect it. So these are the two different types of cuddle, and there are so many different types of cuddle out there. I'm going to put a few links up, and hold on one second. I don't know if that's going to actually come through. So what I did was I put up some links about where you can find out about Shannon Fabrics, all of their cuddles. You can go to shannonfabrics.com, their website. They have a Facebook group called I Love Cuddle Fabric. And, it's worth joining this group because people show beautiful blankets, stuffed animals, apparel, home dec items. You'd be amazed at the things that you can make using cuddle fabrics and the different types of cuddle. There are ones with like really high piles that are just lush and so soft. I also put up a link to, let's see, they have what they call Sew Together Tuesday, and they do this every Tuesday. And their national educator, Teresa Coates, takes you from start to finish of a cuddle project, whether she's making a garment or she's making a home dec item or a stuffed animal. You can learn a lot about cuddle and how to use it, joining their group and watching their Sew Together Tuesdays. So if you got any questions about cuddle, go ahead and type those in. But if not, Dawn, I think you can go ahead and get started.
Okay, so I am going to switch over to the machine right now. And
all right, let's get you the big picture here.
Yep.
There we go. There we go.
All right. So the first step we're going to sew is the placement for the batting.
Actually, you put the batting down first, Dawn.
Oops, that's right. Thank you.
And someone is asking, where do you get the notebook Embrilliance file from? So it's not an Embrilliance file. It is a file from embroiderygarden.com. It's my Dazzling Diamonds notebook cover. Dawn showed you Embrilliance because she brought that file in and she added the letter. She showed you how to do that because we are stitching out one of her collegiate fonts on the front of the notebook.
Yes. Okay, so that is the first step. So we stick down the batting and it sews the straight line. And then Reen has brilliantly created the file so that the machine moves back so that you have room and space to put in the next pieces of cuddle. So some of the cuddle is not going to have a nap or a loft to it, but this one I feel like it does. And because this is going to be the top part here, I want to have it in this direction, so that's why I'm heading it. So I'm just lining up the edge of it with, this is piece B, and I'm lining up the edge of it with the line here that just stitched. And then I'm going to take piece D, and if you're dealing with nap and loft again, you're going to want to make sure that you have it so that this is essentially the top of the notebook. This is the bottom. So you want to have the nap going in the direction that you want it to be. And so this is piece C, and we're going to flip it over like this and put it down. It's going to be lined up exactly on that line as the top one is, or the bottom one, I mean, piece B. And so I'm going to pin it. You can tape if you want.
And while you're doing that, Dawn, I think we've got quite a few questions coming in.
Okay.
Okay, so one of them is, do you have to have Embrilliance to do this? No.
No.
You can use other software. You do have to have something, though, to bring a file in. You could do it on your machine. Personally, I just think it's easier to do it in software. Don't you, Dawn?
I do, because that way you can sequence it and center it exactly where you want it to be. If you don't have software, it is possible to stick the notebook file on your machine, start sewing it, stop at the spot you want it to be, load the letter, sew the letter, go back to loading the notebook design, and then continue on. Skip forward through the steps and then continue on. So you can do it without software. It just takes a bunch of more steps to do, and and work. So any other questions with this stuff?
Someone's asking about Floriani software. Yeah, any software is going to work. You know,
Yeah,
you don't have to have a special one.
No, it doesn't. I was just using Embrilliance because I think a lot of people have that and are familiar with it. You can do it with a multi-needle machine, Fairy Tale Wonders, and you can use Mighty Hoops.
And Chantel's asking, she says she has a 6x10 and knows she can't stitch this particular design. Cuddle can work with anything. I actually have written several blog posts for Shannon Fabrics. You can go to shannonfabrics.com, click on their blog, and go and see, you know, some of the articles that I wrote using machine embroidery, where I took some of my other designs. I made zipper bags out of Cuddle fabric. I made owls, shaped owls. I've used it in applique pieces. Cuddle will work with, you know, anything. It has nothing to do with your hoop size.
Right. Yeah, and the reason why the hoop size needs to be an 8x12 is because of the size of the notebook that we're putting this into. It's not a Cuddle thing. It's the size of the notebook we're creating this with. I just want to make a note. I see that a lot of people, this is not being shared on the event page or my Facebook page. My apologies for that. This is being recorded. You've obviously found us on Reen's Facebook page, but it's also on YouTube. So greatly apologize. You got to love technology, but I will put it there after the live is over. So I apologize for those of you who did come in late, but it is being recorded and you will be able to watch it again. So
Dawn and I are learning.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Someone asked about my fabric markers. I do have a design for those. They're an in the hoop design that you can get, that they're all just a simple in the hoop design with the letters embroidered on them. Laser Bee Studio also has them. Reen has them. They're a dry erase that you can write the names of the pieces on them. I have to mention though, I think it's amazing that Reen, when she creates her designs, she puts letters on them for the pieces. So you know when you're cutting them, what piece you're using. It makes it so much easier to just go, okay, piece A, and you pick it up and you put it down instead of having to remeasure everything that you cut and have to try to figure out what piece is the one that you're asking for next. So there's a question here from Denise. Do you need to set the foot higher since you're using Cuddle?
If you end up having a problem, meaning the foot is dragging on something, you see things shifting a lot, you might want to raise your foot, but I've never had to raise my foot when doing a machine embroidery project using Cuddle.
Alrighty.
But Dawn's ready to stitch the next step.
Yep. So we have piece B and piece C here, and we've got them pinned down, and we're going to press start. This is going to stitch another straight line.
Now Cuddle is slippery, so you really do want to watch it when you're stitching.
Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do is, sorry, I don't want to move it too far out of the way. I'm going to unpin it and open this out. Now, Reen, talk to them. Tell them what's happening now.
So the next step of the design is actually going to stitch around the hoop. It's kind of basting the fabric down, but it's also going to stitch 4 tiny placement lines. And this is going to show you where you're going to line up your pockets a little bit later on. We are skipping the quilting because you're not going to be able to see it in this thick Cuddle. So we are going to skip that step, but you do want to make sure that you are pinning the fabric down just like Dawn is. And notice that piece of tape that she put there at the bottom of the hoop. That's very important because when it starts to stitch, it's going to start stitching there at the bottom. And when it goes around, that's the fold the foot could catch on. So it's very important to put that piece of tape there. It's always also important to put a piece of tape along that fabric that is on the left-hand side of the hoop, her fuchsia colored fabric. We're going to tape that down to the frame so that it doesn't move. When Dawn stitches this next step, she's really going to be watching the step as it stitches. And if she sees anything starting to shift or move, she's going to stop her machine. When you're doing a project like this, you might want to slow the speed of your machine down a little bit, just so, if something goes on, you are able to stop it. But stitching with Cuddle is wonderful. I love making all kinds of things out of it. I've done pillows, in the hoop pillows and all kinds of other things using it.
Okay, so now I just put some medical tape, paper tape on that I like to use because I feel like it sticks down very well and it also comes off very well. And when you stitch through it, it doesn't harm the needle. And it has a good glue on it. So are there any questions on this or can I keep going?
Go ahead and stitch.
Okay.
Jolene, you don't have to use water soluble on this step on the design. We are going to be using some here in a little bit. If you are embroidering on Cuddle, like doing, a monogram or something, yeah, you're going to want to use a topper on it. Trying to look to see if I see some other questions.
And you know that little jink there, that's where those notches are stitching.
So Ma Fitchin, hi Ma, she never thought of using Cuddle and she has lots of scraps. So if you have a lot of scraps, Cuddle really adds to a design, like an applique design. Looks really nice. So keep those scraps, don't throw them out. And Carrie is asking, what is my favorite, let me see it here. What's your favorite Cuddle for blankets? Well, I've used the digital Cuddle, which is a Cuddle 3, digital meaning it's printed. There's a print on it. I've used this hide. I'm actually working on one right now. It's a Christmas gift, which I'm using a bunch of animal print hides that is turning out really, really nice. So Dawn's ready for the next step.
So what we're going to do, grabbing my water soluble stabilizer. I forgot to grab it first. Okay,
and Cindy, if you're freezing, just refresh or, go out of the wherever you're watching from and come back in.
So the next step in the design stitches the diamonds. And as Reen mentioned, we are skipping that step. So going forward, actually that was the wrong way, sorry. Got my machine not too long ago, so I'm still learning it. All right, so the next step that's going to stitch is going to be the placement stitch for the vinyl or the canvas that we're going to put down. So I will start that. And
are you going?
Questions?
Oops. Do you use the water soluble when you do that step? I do. I didn't know if you did or not.
So I've done it both ways. I've done it where I just stitch this part and then put it down. But I guess it might be easier, especially on camera, to see the actual stitching part. So I think I will put it down now, especially with the camera and everything. It'll be easier for you all to see. So it can be done either way.
Yeah, it can be. Vicki wants to know if there's a special way to cut Cuddle. If you're cutting hide, there's a craft knife you can use. When I cuddle with scissors, I use micro serration scissors. A lot of these questions about cuddle, if you join the I Love Cuddle Facebook group, you are going to learn so much about cuddle.
Okay, so we stitched the placement line now for the vinyl, and I'm going to place it down well out of the way of the stitching, or the needle and the stitching. And now this is going to stitch this stem. So I'm going to keep going, and if there's questions, let me know.
Debbie wants to know if she's able to watch it later. A couple of people have asked, and yes, it's going to be on Dawn's. It'll be on her Facebook page. It'll be on my Facebook page. It'll be on our YouTube channels. Dawn, do you want to say a little bit about the type of vinyl you're using?
So this vinyl it came on a roll from Hobby Lobby, and some of them are really thick, and this one is thinner, which I like. But because this is the notebook cover and not a piece of clothing, the thinner vinyls, it doesn't matter if it's thicker or thinner. So marine vinyl, marine canvas, any kind of glitter vinyl. I don't know if I would use heat transfer vinyl on this, just because of the fact that you're going to want to iron that down. And ironing on Cuddle is not the best, but you can do it, but I don't like to do it on Cuddle with the nap. That's just me. But I would say give it a try. So one of the things I'm going to do right now is I am not going to cut out the entire perimeter of this right now. I don't want to spend the time. It's also easier to do it once you have it off the hoop. So all I'm going to do right now is I'm going to cut it not very smoothly, not very close, not very straight. I'm just making sure I'm cutting it out of the way of where the placement for the pockets and the placement for the back inside lining is going to be. So you can cut it now, and especially if you're doing the satin stitch finish, you're going to want to cut it now. But for me, I like to cut it all later when I have it off the hoop.
And Cindy wants to know what department you got the vinyl from at Hobby Lobby, I believe she's asking.
So it's from where all the ribbon is and the elastic and the fabric. It's in the fabric section, and every time I've been to 3 different Hobby Lobbies, they have it on an end cap there. So you can find it essentially where all the ribbon is. So yeah, it's from where all the ribbon is in Hobby Lobby. Thank you, Bruce. I like this vinyl too. And we thought it would go really well with the pink and the blue.
Okay, SB is asking the water solubles under the vinyl. The reason I like to do it that way, you're going to see later on when you go to cut that vinyl around your letter, that water soluble is going to keep you from cutting the fibers of your cuddle. So that's why it's under there. We're going to tear it away from the letter when it's all done. If it's underneath the vinyl, it doesn't matter. This isn't a garment or anything. It's a notebook cover. But you'll be glad it's there when you go to trim the letter out, I believe.
Yes, I agree as well. Okay, so this is the triple running stitch that we have here. The next step that's going to stitch is going to be the placement line for the inside letter. Yes, Stephen Norma Kaufman. We like to know that it's at Hobby Lobby too. You can also find many glitter vinyl sheets at Amazon. A lot of times they call it, it's vinyl, but they call it leather. I can't remember the letters they use for it. It's because it's not really leather, it's vinyl, but you can find it sometimes with jewelry making stuff. They have it.
And Layla, I've just posted the link to the letters that we're using tonight. Dawn does have some other letters on sale. The notebook cover design is on sale at embroiderygarn.com, and any of my notebook covers are all on sale. I put those on sale.
Okay, so now we have the piece of Cuddle 3. So these two pieces we used were called Hide, Hide, and they have a big loft and lots of fuzziness and yumminess. And this one is Cuddle 3, and it's got a lower loft. So it's kind of more resembles more of like velvet in a way. So now,
and it also has the nap to it too.
Yes, so that's why I'm petting it like this, to make sure that it's going the correct direction. If you can see that, I don't know if you can see that very well, how it kind of was against the nap in the loft. So this time I'm just going to put this down here now, and without the water soluble stabilizer on, because I will put that on next when we do the satin stitch around it.
And Valley Girl's asking about your machine.
Oh my goodness. It's a Brother Luminaire XP2. Okay, now I'm going to switch you over to the mat so I can cut this out. So I use several different types of scissors, just depending on the angle and the area I'm trying to get into the easiest. Keep coming with those questions for those of you who joined late because #technology. I make sure you put into the comments #cuddle so that you can be entered into the giveaway. You only need to do it once because
it kicks it out if you do it more than once.
Yes. So,
and SB says her machine is slower than yours. She's behind. You know, that doesn't matter. You can watch this replay in several places, and it'll always be there. It's always going to be on YouTube and our Facebook pages.
I'll also tell you that it's going to depend on the letter that you do, because some letters add at least twice as much stitching as this letter does. This is the letter I. So that's something to be aware of too with speed of stitching. I know some of the letters are more than twice, almost 3 times, because of the inside parts and the curves and the parts.
Yeah, we'll give you some tips on cutting around the vinyl later when it's time.
Yes. Okay, so one thing I like to do at this point too is grab my handy little vacuum here. Just get some of those pieces out, and then that way I can kind of see where I might have missed or didn't get close enough. Okay.
I also like to keep a lint roller handy. A lint roller works nicely too.
Yes, that is great. All right, I'm going to go back to the machine now.
Sharon wants to know what scissors you're using, Dawn.
Those are ginger, or I don't know how you say it. I always say
Ginger?
ginger. It's ginger. Yes,
Ginger.
it's ginger. Ginger. Say it, Reen.
Now I can't say it. Ginger.
They're the 6-inch double curved scissors. I can't use duckbill. I don't know if it's because I'm left-handed or what, but I just have never been able to get the hang of the duckbill applique scissors.
I haven't either.
I know some people love them, and that I have to keep going back to them, keep trying, but it's just not my scissors. I like.
Okay, Donna wants to know how close you're cutting next to that stitching line.
For the applique, I cut for the top part here. I cut right up against it. For the bean stitch that is on the outside, on the lower part on the vinyl, I probably would leave at least a good 1/4 of an inch. But I also could also leave a little bit more than that so that you will see the vinyl, because sometimes it could get buried in the cuddle.
And again, she just rough cut around that vinyl just because it's going to be a little bit easier if you wait and cut that vinyl later on. And I personally like to cut the vinyl like about a 1/4 inch away from the letter. Fairy Tale Wonders, no, this is a 8x12 file. The reason it doesn't come smaller is because then the 5x7 notebook would not fit in it. It's almost taking up the entire 8x12 hoop. And Dee wants to know, how many layers do you have on the hoop right now?
So right now there's the the mesh stabilizer. On top of that is the batting. And on top of that is one piece here of cuddle hide, another piece here of cuddle hide, but they're sewn together at this seam here, so they're not overlapping. So that's essentially 3 on each side. Then there's the vinyl, and now the cuddle on top here, the blue cuddle free. So that's 5. Or
I
4.
believe so.
Yeah, 4 and the stabilizer.
And I think we should talk about the needle too. I just regularly use a 7511. What about you, Dawn?
Same. 7511. I don't change it out.
And Lisa wants to know if you would change your needle after this project.
This is the 4th one I've sewn, and I still have the same needle in there. So.
Yeah, I don't think that you really need to. She may be talking about because you're stitching on vinyl.
Oh, yeah. If you're doing something, moving, onto something like silk or organza or something really fine like that, I would probably change. But honestly, I don't change my needles very often.
Oh, she says because of so many layers. I'm like Dawn. I use the same needle, for a few projects. It's this vinyl we're using it's very soft.
It is. It's very pliable. It's not very thick at all. I'm trying to think about it's not nowhere near as thick as marine vinyl. Or even canvas, glitter canvas. It's thicker than heat transfer vinyl, but it's not very thick.
Fairy Tale Wonders, yes, this would work with other fabrics. I originally did this in fabric. That's what it was intended for. And then maybe we should say, truth be told, Don and I are both Shannon Fabrics brand ambassadors, so we use a lot of Cuddle. And when I made the notebook, I thought, this might look really cool in Cuddle. So I made it in Cuddle, and then I found Dawn's applique letters, and I thought, that's going to look cool in Cuddle too.
It is. It's amazing. Pleather, yes, that's kind of the fake leather that they sell for jewelry making and key fobs and other in the hoop projects. Pleather is what the word I was looking for. There's also another one. It's the letters that I can't remember. It's like, what layer is the vinyl, Elaine? It is underneath the eye here. So it's this square right here that I haven't cut out yet. And it's something that would get cut out at the end. Because it's finished in the bean stitching, it doesn't need to be cut right now. And it's easier for me to cut it at the very end after the notebook has been all assembled. I also did that with the sweatshirt that I made that I showed earlier. I didn't cut the vinyl out until the very end after it was off the hoop and completely done. Yes, SB, using a different letter can make the project take longer because of the amount of stitches. Yes, Linda, you can use this vinyl to cut earrings on your silhouette. That's awesome. All right. And Reen, I think now we're turning it over to you to put the pockets on and the backing.
Right. All right, so what I'm going to do is let's change to my table so you can see what's going on. All right, so I have mine stitched. I use the letter R, and it's exactly the same step that Dawn just finished. I took the water soluble off of my letter. And just see how cool that looks. I used a really shiny vinyl. And you're going to notice, too, that I have trimmed mine down just like Dawn did because I do not want any vinyl or anything where the notebook is going to get stitched together. And that's going to be right about here and along here. You can kind of see the lines of that basting stitch that stitched our fabrics down in place so they wouldn't move on us. So the next step is to place our pocket pieces. And if you watched our Q&A, you remember how important it was that you finished off the correct edge of the pocket pieces so that when they get placed, our nap is going in the correct direction. So let's go to the back side of the hoop to find our placements for our pockets because we certainly can't see it in this fuzzy cuddle fabric. So I've turned my hoop to the back side, and earlier I took an ink pen, a little marker, and I just kind of darkened those lines so you could see them on the camera. So there are 4. There is a upper set and a lower set, and these are what we're going to use to put our pockets on. But how are we going to see that on the front side of the hoop because the pockets go on the front side? So what I like to do, and let me grab it here, I take 2 straight pins. And we're working with the bottom set of placement lines first. The bottom pocket is going to be stitched down first. So I'm just going to stick a pin through the fabrics, through the hoop, right where those bottom placement marks are. Going to pick my hoop up and push them down, turn it over. And now, hopefully you can see, I'm going to wiggle them around. You can see where those pins are. So I'm going to place my hoop down, kind of pull those pins off to the side, and these are where my placement lines are to put my pockets on. Again, you want to make sure you have the correct pocket to place down first. So they are going to go right side down, and the finished edge is going to be even with those placement marks. Now, what I like to do is take this fabric and just fold it back a little bit and make sure I have the nap going in the correct direction. Let's check. I don't. So that means I'm supposed to use this piece. And let me line it up again. And again, this is a little test I do to make sure that the nap is going in the correct direction, and you can see that it is. So this is the piece I use. I've got it lined up. Let me just double check. What I'm going to do is I am going to tape these pieces down, or this piece down now, just with some tape. I like to use the clear medical tape. And I'm going to remove those pins from the back side. Now the next step in the design is going to stitch a line down here that attaches this pocket. So let me switch to the machine. Get my hoop put on without hitting the camera, which I don't think I'm going to do because I need to move it a little bit. Let me just adjust that. Sorry. All right, you can still see it. Let me get my hoop on the machine.
Yes, we can see it. Great.
Okay. And like I said, it is going to stitch a line down here to attach this pocket. I just kind of like to hold it. I could pin it like Dawn pinned earlier, but I'm just going to kind of hold it here. And after this pocket gets stitched down, we're going to do the exact same thing and get the other pocket lined up and stitch it down. So make sure that you kind of do that little test like I did to make sure that the cuddle is going in the correct direction, the nap, when you put on your pockets. All right, let me bring it back over to the table. I can take this tape off because I don't need that anymore. This pocket is secured down here. I think though I might keep a piece here in the center just so it doesn't flop around. I am going to go to the back side again because now I need to find these top placement marks. Again, I'm going to take 2 straight pins, stick them into the placement marks, lift the hoop, push them down, and go to the front side. And again, I'll wiggle them around so you can see them. And just kind of line them up. Take my pocket piece, my second pocket piece, lay it right side down. The finished edge goes even with that placement. Again, even though I know it's right, I'm going to double check, make sure the nap is going in the correct direction. I'll grab a couple of pieces of tape and tape this pocket down. And I'm going to remove those pins that I put in. So really, this notebook is a very easy design to do. And it does go pretty quickly. Go back to the machine. And I just kind of hold this down a little bit just to make sure that it doesn't wiggle on me. And then we only have one more design, one more step to this design, and then it'll be ready to finish it off.
Laura says she can't wait to try this. You're going to have so much fun. It's really addicting, Laura. It really is. Cindy said, so neat. Yes, this was Reen's idea, and I thought it was brilliant. I don't know about you guys, but I've seen many notebooks in the stores lately that are using the cuddle like this.
All right, so the 2 pockets are stitched on. The very last step, we are going to use a piece of fabric. The reason we're not using cuddle is because it would make it way too thick. And this piece right here is actually, let me get this cover out of this notebook out of this cover, is this piece here inside that finishes off the notebook. Okay, we need something. We don't want, raw edges and things to be sticking out. So use a coordinating fabric, but it has to go right side down over the entire front side of the hoop. And I'm going to use my pins, and I am going to pin it through all the layers. I like to pin again because, this piece of fabric will want to shift on top of that cuddle. And I'm pinning at the very, very bottom of the hoop as far down as I can go. And I'm going to pin at the very, very top of the hoop. I just kind of have to turn the hoop towards me because it's easier for me to pin through.
Reen, Roxy wants to know, what type of stabilizer are you using?
This is just a lightweight cutaway, like they call it no-show mesh.
And Allison wants to know, does your pattern come with written instructions too?
Yes, all of my designs come with written instructions. There are not the instructions for the cuddle. We did a few different things using the cuddle, but the instructions for the fabric notebook, you get step-by-step detailed instructions with all of my designs. So yes, you get instructions. And again, this one does have a little pocket in the front, the fabric version, and a page marker. You could put the page marker in this one, but we kind of chose not to do that tonight. I'm going to go ahead and get this on the hoop or on the machine, and it's going to stitch the last step. What it's going to do, it's going to go around the machine, around the hoop, and leave an opening up there at the top. And I'm just going to kind of watch it a little bit because I don't want the fabric to pucker or anything. So that's it. Just one more step.
So Steve and Norma Kaufman wants to know what was the topper you used. If you're talking about the clear topper that was used on top of the cuddle and on top of the letters, that is water soluble stabilizer, the thin stuff. It's the topper. It's called water soluble stabilizer.
Right. That's not what we're using in the hoop, but this poly no-show mesh, they call it. You can get it basically anywhere, Renee. I usually get mine from Dime. They sell the brand called Exquisite. And I do want to just make sure and check that my pins are not in the way. I might have gotten that one a little bit close, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it out just because I don't want an issue.
Teresa, I hope I'm saying that correctly. I apologize if I'm not. The total sew time for this is going to depend on the letter you're using, if you're using a letter. If you're not using a letter, Reen, do you know by chance what the sew time is?
I actually think it might be, if you just did the plain one, and let me grab that. I think the total stitch time on it is got to be around, I don't know, it's under 15 minutes. And when you're doing the fabric one, if you're making it out of fabric, you're using folded pieces of fabric for the front and back pockets for the notebook cover. So it's just a folded piece of fabric. It's not where you have to finish off the edge or anything. Thank you, Cheryl. That is my new hand sketched florals. It's a collaboration with Designs and Machine Embroidery. It's available on my website. Okay, so it's done. I'm going to be pulling it out of the hoop. Let me get my pins out.
Kathy, what Kathy wants to know, are you using embroidery needles or just universal?
Let's see. I just use a universal needle, 7511. I don't pick something that specifically says embroidery on it. All right, so it's time to trim this. I'm using, I don't know if you can see that there, micro serration scissors from Kai. You don't have to, but they make cutting cuddle very, very easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm starting at the opening, and you can see the opening here. There aren't any stitches. I like to trim to about 1/4 inch of that stitching. And I always start at the opening because if I start, just clipping and, get distracted, I don't want to cut this off because we need this to turn under to hide our opening of our notebook. And I'm just going to go like 1/4 inch past the stitching all the way around.
Renee said that these would make great gifts. Absolutely. And being able to add the letter as well makes it so much more personalized. You can, in the colors that the person likes, and also the letter. Reen.
And it's something I think that's very unique. You don't see these every day made out of cuddle and monogrammed.
Absolutely. Fairy Tale Wonders wants to know, I know you said you used fabric before. Would a stretchy fabric be preferred, or any fabric work just as well?
Basically, they're made from cotton fabrics. That's what this is the original pattern. They are made from cotton fabrics. Cuddle is a stretch. It has a one-way stretch to it. You don't have to use stretchy fabric. I mean, this is just something that, we decided to do that we thought would look really cool. Okay, so I've trimmed around 1/4 inch all the way around. I do like to clip into my corners, and this design has rounded corners. I make 3 little tiny clips. That helps the fabric to relax, and when it comes time for you to be able to push your corners out really nicely. Let me just get this other one, and then we're going to do some trimming down at the bottom where this opening is. Okay, so now here's the opening, and this is where we're going to turn it. I need this piece here, and I need the piece in front of it because they make up the opening. The stuff behind it, that's all bulk, and I can just trim that down. I think I need your vacuum over here, Dawn.
Yes, you do.
Cuddle does make a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. You're just going to stick your hand into the notebook cover, and now we're going to turn it. And it should turn fairly easily.
Yes,
All
Carrie
right.
said she's thinking about Christmas gifts too.
I think it
Seems
would
like
be
a lot of people have Christmas on their mind tonight.
I'm just going to use my fingers really to get these corners out at this point. Down here and get the bottom ones pushed out. And you can use a tool. I know I just knocked something off my table, and I knocked off my turner. Let me check. Well, it went somewhere. So I'll go ahead and I can just use this chopstick to, get the rest of the corners out nicely. And that's good. At this point, let me take off this tape that I had on there holding the pockets down. Now the opening, you can close the opening a couple of different ways. You're going to turn in the raw edges. And, you would take your time and get this all nice and neat and either use a piece of fusible tape inside to close that, or you could hand stitch if you wanted to. But, you would get that taken care of. And now you're going to take these pockets and we're just going to turn them to the inside. Again, you can use your, point turner, whatever, to get those corners out nicely. Isn't it just so fun? Look at how cute this looks already. And again, like I said, you can take some time to get those corners poked out well. And, I would give it a little bit of a press. But now we're going to trim up our letter. Some of the letters have openings in them, like an A, the R, the P, the O. You can choose if you want to cut that out, you can. I choose not to. You can see even like on the letter K, there gets to be like some tiny areas here. I didn't cut that out. I think it looks very nice just the way it is like this without cutting that. So let me go ahead and start to trim mine. And let's see, I do have that water soluble under there. I remember someone asking about that earlier. I did trim mine all off, but around the edge. But what I'm going to do is I'm getting in between that water soluble right there and the vinyl so that when I put my scissors there to trim, you can see that water soluble is keeping me from cutting the long fibers on my cuddle. And I'm just going to start to trim around here. Dawn might have some other tips to do this. I usually do it while it's in the hoop, but we thought it would make it easier to do it this way tonight.
Yes, I find it easier to be able to do it when it's not in the hoop, but that's me because I actually pick it up in my other hand and I fold the notebook around my other hand and I cut it like that. So it's easier for me to do it that way, but if you prefer to do it in the hoop, it's definitely, a preference as well, if that works for you.
And I find it nice to take your scissors. I'm trying to get underneath that piece of, in between that piece of water soluble, and just start to cut. And then you can actually take your scissors and kind of glide them through it.
Yes, that's the thing I like about some of the vinyl, that once you get your scissors started, you just have to just kind of push and not even have to use the scissors to cut. It's more like going through it like a knife.
Right. And in that way, I think you also get a straighter line and you get it to be more even.
Valley Girl for Life, we used the 5-inch letter, but these letters start at 2 inches and go all the way up to 8. So you can choose the size that you would like to do, but we chose the 5-inch letter.
I just thought it was look nice and big and bold. So
Vicki was asking about the little vacuum I had and I was using earlier. I put the link up there if anybody is interested to know. I like it. It's not super powerful, but it does enough. It's tiny enough that it allows me to vacuum up stuff when I have it in the hoop or under the machine. And it's USB rechargeable, which I really like.
and I'm just slipping the notebook inside. And I do have that water soluble, and all I have to do is go around and just rip it off. It pulls away. It pulls away against the stitches. I can go ahead and, take care of this all later. But I do want to show you something else about Cuddle. It's good to have a stiletto around. You're going to notice, and let me find an area. So up here at the top, see this area here where the seam is, the long fibers of the Cuddle have gotten stitched down into that seam. All you need to do is take a stiletto or a pin even, like a straight pin, and just kind of scratch at it, and it gets those fibers out of that seam. Go around your corners. You can really see it here where it's down in the seam. And all it takes is just to kind of scratch at it to get those fibers to release out of that seam and make the edge look really pretty. It's just like if you're sewing fur, you'd have to go around and, get the fibers out of the seam. But you could do that and go all the way around all the seams, and even on this seam where the two cuddles got stitched together. But basically, that's it. Again, I will go around and pull off the stabilizer, a little bit later.
I had a comment asking if I would show the sweatshirt again. So here's the sweatshirt. It is silver glitter canvas, so it's thinner than this marine vinyl. And what I did is I actually have a video coming out in the next day or two that'll be on my YouTube channel, exactly how I did this sweatshirt. But essentially, I just put a piece of vinyl on there and I stitched it down, and then I sewed the top on and I cleaned it all up at the end.
That is adorable. I love that.
So Renee said that's a great idea to release those fibers using the stiletto. It really helps a lot. Yes, this will be recorded.
And I just put all the links up that we have. Links to Dawn's font files, my notebook cover files. There's one for Embrilliance if you're interested. There's all the links for Shannon Fabrics if you want to learn about Cuddle, join their fabric or their Facebook group.
The glitter canvas I'm using, Lynn, is from a company that's no longer in business, and you can find it at My Punk Broderie. I know they have glitter canvas, but you can also probably find it on Amazon. I don't have specific links for you because this stuff was from a company that's no longer in business, unfortunately.
So are there any other questions? Don't forget to get your hashtag cuddle in before we do the drawing.
Drawings for 5.
Drawings, right. There are 5 drawings. We're going to do a $20 gift card to Creative Embroidery, Creative Appliques Embroidery, $20 gift card to Embroidery Garden, and Shannon Fabrics is going to give away 3 cuddle cuts of fabric. Cuddle cuts are a 2-yard piece of cuddle, and mainly it's, you know, this really nice soft hide type of cuddle. So big shout out to Shannon Fabrics. Thank you for that. Thank you for supporting us.
Kathy, the font we're using is the Collegiate Double Applique alphabet with satin stitch and bean stitch, and you can find it on Creative Appliques website. We have several different versions there. Caroline, and you can also scroll up in the comments, I think. I'm not sure if they're posting to Facebook, but I think they're posting on YouTube, at least. They're definitely posting on YouTube. What a great project for scraps of vinyl. Yes, they are. It is a great way to use up those scraps of glitter vinyl that you have. Get in your hashtag cuddle so we can pick the prizes for you.
And we will put the links into the description. You know, give us a little bit of time after the video is, or the demo is over, and we will go back and add them into the description.
Cheryl, on this sweatshirt, I used 2.5 inches. I have the video uploaded, ready to go on YouTube. I'm just waiting for a last minute thing, but I'm hoping to get it up there tomorrow morning, hopefully. And I cover all the details about it. And if you have any specific questions about that, I'm happy to answer that as well. Yes, Stephen Norma Kaufman, I'm sorry, I don't know why the links are not posting there. If you are on the event page on Facebook, there was the event page for this. All of the links for the notebook cover, the letters, all the Shannon Fabric links, those are all on that event page there.
When are we doing this again? Lisa wants to know. What a great way to spend the evening. Thank you. Well, this is our second Technique Tuesday, we've called it. And I'm sure we're going to plan another one, right, Dawn?
I would love to. Yes. If Reen will do it with me, I'm here. I'm game. Absolutely.
If you guys have ideas, you know, shoot us some ideas.
What kind of stiletto?
It's the stilettobyAnnie.com.
Reen, did you use Cuddle 3 on the pockets?
Yes, the pockets are Cuddle 3, and that was because, you know, of the thickness. Kind of wanted to keep the thickness down a little bit because the more, you know, the more thickness you add by using the hide or, you know, even the piece that I used the fabric on, if that were Cuddle, you know, it's going to affect the way a notebook fits in. So try to keep some of the thickness down.
Yes. Valley Girl for Life. I will go back. I see you're on YouTube, so I will put all the links in the description over on YouTube. I thought that they were there, but I will double check to make sure that they're in there. Denisha, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I know Reen and I are still navigating this whole world of technology, and hopefully if we keep doing this, we're going to get it perfected, hopefully.
Right. It's a lot harder than you guys think it is.
We
try different things.
Maybe we're just more challenged.
We're trying, but we're learning, and that's the good thing. We're learning.
We are, and we keep coming back. So failure will not have a hand on us. All right. So if there's no more questions, I think we are going to be picking the winners. Wow, Valley Girl for Life. Thank you so much. That was so sweet. Fun demonstration. Thank you so much. What was the name of the main cuddle? The cuddle that was used on the front of the cover?
It's a cuddle hide. They call it Luxe Hide. Again, go to shannonfabrics.com. You can see all the different cuddles that they have. Join their Facebook group, I Love Cuddle Fabric. They'll answer all your questions. You can see beautiful, inspiring projects that people have done. It's really a group worth joining. And don't forget Sew Together Tuesdays. They do it every Tuesday with Teresa Coates, the national educator, and she takes you from the beginning to the end through a cuddle project with all kinds of tips and tricks.
All right, so if we're ready, I think we're going to start picking our winners. So let me share my screen here. Can you see that?
Yes.
All right, so here we are. Drum roll, please. The first of 5 winners. This drawing will be for a gift card to Creative Appliques website, $20 store credit to the website.
Good luck, everyone.
Yay, Ruth Ann Hansen. Congratulations. Please send me a message through the website, creativeappliques.com, and I will get you your $20 credit. So we are going to draw again, and this one will be the first Shannon Fabric winner. First of 3.
That's so exciting.
It is. We have so many
Julie,
Julie,
congratulations. Julie from Louisiana.
Congratulations. Send me a message through the website, creativeappliques.com, with your contact information, and I will pass that on to Shannon Fabrics. The next drawing we will have will be for $20 store credit to Reen's website. Good luck, everyone. The suspense.
It's killing me. Bruce Bolton.
Wonderful.
So contact me. Yeah, contact me through my website, embroiderygarden.com, or send a direct email to support@embroiderygarden.com.
All right. Our 4th drawing will be for a Shannon Fabrics cut of Cuddle.
And you guys are going to be so lucky, the winners of these cuddle cuts.
Mary, send a message to me through the Creative Appliques website, and I will pass your information on. And for our final drawing, again,
it's for another cuddle cut. I'm excited. I don't even know who it is. June Scott.
June Scott. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And for, how do I get out of here now?
Just stop sharing.
Oh, there we go. I had to go back. There we go. Okay.
So congratulations, everyone. Hope that you enjoyed this. I saw someone put a really nice comment in. The comments are kind of starting to fly, but someone said that, oh, here it is. She watches a lot of lives, and ours is definitely more advanced than many I see.
Well, thank you. That's a huge compliment. We appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Well, let us know what you would like to see in the future so that we can keep hanging out with you and teaching more tips and tricks and having more giveaways.
Yeah, definitely. So good night, everyone. Remember, you can rewatch this. And if you have any questions, you can always email Dawn or myself about anything that we've done.
Absolutely. Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good night.
Good night.